Hey garden friends. Are we straight? Anyways, half the time I don't have the camera straight. Today I wanted to do, as I said I was going to do in my Lowe's visit video, and that was show you how I take this one potted, well, it's two in here, of the early girl tomatoes, and I hunted around on the racks to make sure there was two in one container, and that way we can divide them out, and then we'll have two plants. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and or share with your friend. Others would probably like to know this trick, if they don't already. It's pretty simple. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out of the container. Now this is pretty root bound. You see that? Well, I should say, you see this? I should set up my other camera so you can get some close-up shots. This is the early girl tomato. I love it because I get tomatoes earlier. We have to wait a long time for tomatoes to come ready to be harvested. And so this is one way, or one tomato that it usually delivers for me 2 weeks before any other. So I get to enjoy tomatoes sooner than I would with, like, I have a beefsteak going. I started seeds just a week ago. They're already coming up. All of them within a week have germinated that I planted with you guys here on the channel. So I have put this in here to soak in the root stimulator solution that I've talked about along. Now, there has been a lot of studies, not a lot, new information to me. An independent laboratory did studies on this product, and it's been pretty amazing. So I will share with you in another video. Along with this, same company has a fertilizer, a food waste fertilizer they made from grocery store waste of food. So I thought that was pretty neat, and it's been extensively tested as well in the field. So this is Bonnie Plants. I got this at Lowe's. If you didn't see that video, I'll link to that video in the description box below if you want to see it. Okay, so I'm going to let this get a good soak, and I'm going to prep a couple of pots. I probably will put them in the taller 4-inch pots that I have saved from previous years. I've used some of these for 10 plus years. So I don't put them in the landfill. I just keep reusing them. And I haven't had to buy, well, I bought the little ones from Bootstrap Farmer, and I love them because I didn't have any that size. And when I want to pot seedlings up a little bit, those work perfectly because they don't take a lot of space, and so many of them fit in a tray. So that if I have to keep them indoors, they don't take up a lot of space. But I'll go get my 4-inch pots really quick. So here are the 4-inch pots. Still has the writing on the side from the last plants I had in it. These plants are not particularly, because they're so big, they're not susceptible to much. So I'm not going to worry about washing, sanitizing. Well, these don't look too bad. So I probably rinsed them out this past summer as things were taken out of them. So this was ageratum that I had potted up in these last time. And then also a rose that I had started. So I just turn them around. I need to get another paint pen. I think this one's pretty much out, and I have a whole package of them. The paint pens work really well. So, okay, I am going to partially fill this up with, this is E.B. Stone's Edna's Best potting soil, but you can use whatever locally is a good quality potting soil in your area. So what we're going to do here is I've let it soak. So now I'm going to I always say kind of. I am going to just massage the roots. This won't hurt it. Yes, I am disturbing the roots, but that's not the end of the world. Trust me. I was checking on my chickens, so I'm moving over there. Okay, so keep massaging. Now you could search better on the shelves. I was kind of in a hurry for two plants that aren't so close together. So these are really close together, and so I'm really going to have to remove a lot of the soil to make sure I don't tear one of them to bits. So let me see. Yeah, they kind of tried to grow together there. But I'll tell you what we're going to do. There, I got it apart. And both of them have good root mass. Will this shock it? Yes, but I've got time before I can put them out. I've got another 6 weeks at least before I can put it out in my garden. So we'll go ahead and let them soak in the solution some more. And I think I have too much soil in my pot. See, I've got it like halfway full. So I want it to go down. So I've got part of the stem covered, And stop. I want to have this further down into the pot because I want part of the stem to be covered. So I will take a little bit of the soil out, and then I will trim off, or just pinch it off. I'll pinch it off the little side shoots here, and maybe even this one. Won't hurt it. And then I will sink this down into the pot as much as I can. So I got that down in there. I'm pushing it down in there, pushing the roots down. I'm going to use the cup that I came out of to finish filling the pot. Am I even in the camera there? So I'm going to finish filling the pot with soil, covering where those side stems that I pinched off came off of. And I'm going to firm it down in there. I'm not going to push hard, but I'm going to firm it down. Now you can see, well, there's a bud on here, a couple of buds. I'm going to trim those off because I want it to recover from the shock, not worry about trying to produce. And I'm going to have to keep this in the house. It's much too cold even in my greenhouse. I do not yet, and I say yet, have a heated greenhouse. That is a goal of something I would like done here. But that is future. So for now, I have to put this in my house on the light rack. This leaf was damaged because when it was at Lowe's, it got too cold even there, and they had left them outside. And that's what that little modeling on the leaves is. So here's the bud, and I'm just going to nip it off. You see the little flower bud in there? Fruit bud. That's a few tomatoes right there, but it's too soon even for here, or mostly for here, and I just got to nip it off. And that's good. So there's one ready to roll. And I could even cut off more leaves, like this leaf up here has been kind of damaged, and it'll put out more. It won't hurt it at all, especially as I'm going to be pampering it. And so I'm going to see now this one, how deep. Yeah, I want it to go down here, so I need to dump some of the soil. And then we'll put it down in here. And I want it to go way down in there. So I'm really going to squish. So the roots are going to kind of be going laterally and not just straight down. And that's fine. You want that. So again, I'll use the cup. Usually I have something underneath of my container to catch the excess dirt that I dump everywhere, but I'll just sweep it up this time. So we'll do this. Get it all in there. I forgot to cut the lower leaf off. I'm going to do that now. I'm just going to reach down and pinch it off. Got ahead of myself. It didn't have that many lower leaves. Okay, this leaf, again, let me bring it up to you. This leaf is really damaged from the cold snap it endured. So I'm going to trim that one off, and this one also, because they both have the damage. This one does too, but I'm going to leave that for now. And just add a little bit more soil, because when I water it, it'll sink down a little bit. And I do want a gap, probably 1/2 inch, so that when I water, it doesn't overflow. Okay, so now I put all my other little starts in that other tray. I'll do this one, use this one. This is one I just dumped. So I'm going to put this down here. First, let me sweep up my mess. Sweep my mess up. I have a It's not too pretty. I need to paint it and make this pretty. I can do it. I've painted roses and stuff on buckets, so all I gotta do is first spray paint it with some Rust-Oleum and then paint some pretty flowers on it. So these are gonna go in here for the moment while I water them. I'm gonna water them in. Some of that soil that was on them is in here, but that's not gonna hurt them one iota. And we just use this up. Kind of sloppy. Sloppy, sloppy. But that's A-okay. So no, there you have it. You now have 2 tomatoes for the price of 1. And these will do just fine. Now, so that, my friends, is how I do that. And it's not hard. And as I said before, try to find a tomato plant or a pot with 2 tomato plants that might have come up a little further apart. It would be easier than trying to, these had right down at the base, it looked like they had tried to grow together or were trying to. Separating them won't hurt. As most people know, the tomatoes will root along the stem. Forgive my chickens. Along the stem. So that's why I wanted to plant them deeper. These will go back in on my light rack in the house where it's warmer. I will not be able to plant these out in the garden until the end of May. So we've got time. But also, if you remember, if you watched that video at Lowe's, I got some beautiful wave petunias on the sale rack. This whole 6-pack was $7, so that's almost only $1 a plant. And now I am kicking myself, so I didn't pick up a couple more. That was just really dumb on my part. So I already potted some up in 2 big hanging baskets. And I'll take you along when I do these to put in hanging baskets. Noisy little rascals. Alrighty then. I think that's all. I was going to show you. I don't know if you watched it or not. I'm going to wait for them to shut up. Maybe they will. There was a few other things I got at Lowe's that these are just so gorgeous. Now, I can't put these out till later, but they've done fine in here, and we've gotten pretty cold. We're going to have a couple days today, and tomorrow we're going to be nicer, and then we're going to go back into rain and snow for a few more days. And then the following week, we'll get nicer again. I'm sorry if that is so overwhelming. Well, the chickens have quieted down. It's a couple days later, actually. We've got almost 2 feet or more of snow out there, so it's a wild and woolly spring here at Flower Patch. So I was showing you some of the flowers that I got at my Lowe's visit. And I had to put some of them in the studio or Primrose Cottage because it was supposed to get down to 20 degrees last night. It continued snowing instead, so it didn't quite get that cold, but if it clears off today, tonight, it will get that cold. And I wanted to make sure that they didn't bite the dust because of the cold. Now, my wave petunias, that's one thing I like about wave petunias. They are a bit more cold hardy than mini petunias, and as long as they're in here in the greenhouse, they'll be fine. So I will take you along to pot those up in another video. I did get those at Lowe's too. I'm going to go back Monday and see if they have more. I don't know why I didn't get them when they were such a great price, and I could fill more barrels around. I do have a lot. I'm starting from seed, but I never can have too many petunias. So that was one of them. I showed you. I started the lobelia. I put my geraniums, my new geraniums that I bought, into the studio cottage too. Now the delphiniums that I potted up with you, that I took cuttings. These are the cuttings. They're doing fine. They'll be fine in here too. So that's all good. So I hope you enjoyed this video on dividing up the tomato plant, and I'll show you a clip of them on my light rack. Of course, they are not out here. They would not handle this cold at all. They're on my light rack in my office where I do my seed starting, indoor seed starting, and they're doing great. So I'll paste that on right after here, and we will come back for my next video. Oh, I'm going to do cuttings of rosemary and lavender and show you how to do that so I can create lavender and rosemary topiaries like this one. Now this is a shorter growing one, but isn't this one? This one's a couple years old. So that's what we're going to tackle next. See you then.